It's nice to meet you. I'm Danguolė Kraskauskienė, and I'm the lecturer of University of Vytautas Magnus. Also, I'm a career and leadership coach. I have my own private practice. Also, I am a member of coaching organization, and not long ago I was a board member. Also, I volunteer and always give my time to work with the teenagers aged 14 to 19 years old. And of course, I'm a daughter, I'm a wife, and also I have 2 teenagers in my house. So you can see that my hands are full. And one of the reasons why I'm not still crazy is because I've learned time management on my blood. So when I talk to you today, and I'll share my knowledge to you today, it's not the theory in the book. It's what I have learned on my mistakes. It's what I have applied in my life, and also what I have seen in the lives of my clients. People who have ambitions, who are active, and who struggle to make their own time management system. So today it will not be a theory lecture. Today will be a workshop. And I will invite you to take some papers or maybe computers and work with me through this topic. And also, if you like to work with a paper, maybe you can have several colors of pencils, of pens. Also, if you work in computer, be prepared to use colors as well. I hope it will help. So today, we will cover these 4 parts. Of course, we will start with basic principles. Most of them, they are already known to you, and you know how some things work. But I will invite you to change the perspective, to change the way you look at them. Then we will look at some time management methods, and we will try to apply directly on our work-life balance today. Also, we will have a quick look at timekeeping tools, and we will finish with identifying thieves, and we will try to figure out how we can protect ourselves from those thieves and have a quality and stress-free life. This is what we are here for, aren't we? So let's start with the basic principles and definitions. When I talk to people about time management, almost in every language, there is a word management in it. And when we hear a word management, we have an idea that we should control something. There is a sense that we want to control processes, people, our lives. But when we talk about time management, it's quite different, isn't it? And we understand we can't control time. We can't control other people. Kids get sick, cars get broken, and plans go away. So, if we want to keep our life controlled, we will be disappointed. This is where stress comes from. When we want to control every aspect of our lives. In reality, we should not prepare for controlling. We should prepare for the disaster. And if we won't have a disaster, well, lucky us. So, stop controlling. Change your attitude. So, if you can't control time, what can you control? You can control your focus, what is important to you. You can control how you build your relationship with other people, healthy relationship, because you will need them. And you can choose how you react to all those disruptions, all those broken cars, getting sick people, and all those problems that arise to you. And also, you can pick your point of view, your attitude. And this is where I want to start with you. When we talk about time management, most of the time we look at it as another job to do, right? I have to manage my time. Now I have to do something. It's just another work in my list. Well, stop doing that. Let's look at it in a different perspective. What if it's not a time management? but a time diet. Have you ever had a diet in your life? Anyone? Then you know it's kind of different approach. First of all, it's a good news. You don't have to like your diet, do you? You don't have to like your time management as well, because it is something that requires you to change the way you operate, the way you live, the way you talk to people, the way you plan your everyday activities. So changes are not comfortable all the time. In another way, you know that sometimes it means that you don't have to change everything. You need to change just some aspects of your life. So, if you look at the time management in this perspective, you will see how similar they are. You fail your diet at the same reasons why you fail your time management. You fail because you don't have a plan. If you don't know how much do you need your time management, you don't know how much do you need to change it, how much time do you need to save, you don't do it by a written manner. If you have a diet, you know you need to sit every week and have a plan of your food. The same way, you need to stick to your time management. Every week, you have to take this plan, to sit down and think about your next week. What can you achieve through the next week? How much do you need it? Maybe this week is the week you can cheat, and it's a good thing. So it's a plan, what you have to start with, and it's a written plan on the paper or in your computer. You are going to fail if that plan doesn't fit in your lifestyle. If you are a very introvert person and you are a very slow person to make you happy, and you try to make yourself the most efficient way, you know, the dragon, you will fail because it's against your nature. It's against the way you live in your life. So, first of all, do you know your lifestyle? Do you know what makes you happy? What you can't live without you? Just like in a diet, for example, for me, take away my coffee and I will drop a diet the same day. And I know it's a sin. You shouldn't do that. The same with your time management. If, for example, you need that slow morning, now it's morning and we are here, then you need coffees. That means that it's not easy for you. So you must adjust your time management so that it would be easier to stick to it. Also, you must respect your daily patterns. People around you, you are not the island. You are surrounded by people. And every move, every decision you make will affect the life of other people. And if you want to change something drastically, just like in a diet, just imagine if your whole family one morning receives only salad. Will they be happy with that? Most probably not. I have two teenagers. They eat meat. They don't eat salad. They don't eat grass. So if I do that change without adjusting to them, there will be a lot of negative emotions around me. Will it be easier for me? I don't know. So the same is with the time management. You need to respect those people who are around you. It doesn't mean that you can't make any changes. Don't make it drastically. Talk to them before you change anything. You need a supportive environment around you. If you get in a conflict with those people, who will support you when you will be when you will have a breakdown, when you will be disappointed with yourself, when something goes wrong? Who will help you? Who will tell that, hey, look, you're doing great. Without it, we always fail. We always need some support. Prepare for a long run. Sometimes we want to make something so fast that we grab the first solution we can, something that works for this moment. Ask yourself if this issue will be active and will be important in 2-3 months. Can I afford to take that short-term solution? Short-term solutions are always expensive in terms of money, in terms of your nerves, in terms of your dignity, something that you do just here right now. Long-term solutions, they require some discipline from you, but they have a higher level of impact on your life. So, you know, you want great results, they won't be easy, they won't be fast, go for a long run. Know your financial limits. For two reasons. Sometimes solutions cost money. If you need to hire someone, if you need to rent someone, to buy an application, they cost money. Good news, usually we overestimate how much does it cost. We think that it's very costly to hire a nanny who will babysit your kids 2 times a week. Maybe it's not that much. You think it's it costs a lot to hire someone who cleans your house when you are so tired you can't even look at the dust in your room. Usually it's not that much. So how much will you need? Always ask for the price. And then know if you can afford it. Perfect standards. Why we are so tired? Why we are so booked up? So many tasks in our list. Because we believe we can do it the best way. Nobody will make this presentation as good as I do. Nobody will take care of the kids as good as I do. Nobody will organize the event as good as I do. Perfect. But the problem is, the only people who needs perfect birthday party, Christmas event, and etc., the only people, that's us. Nobody else will believe and notice that it's not perfect if you do it good enough. People, there is a reason why people can't see the difference between real diamonds and fake ones. Only the experts see the difference. If you are the expert of your field, sometimes we feel that everyone sees every mistake we make. I myself, as a lecturer who I teach public speaking as well, every time after recording, I have so many things to tell myself what I have done not so well. And still, does it matter if listening people get something useful for them? If we stick to the perfect, we will never be satisfied with ourselves. Furthermore, nobody else will be allowed to help us. We won't allow them. So everything will still stick in our day tasks, and we will be overbooked, overtired, overstressed. And of course, just like in a diet or sport, anywhere that you start, you know you can't go too far when your body and your mind is not ready. If you push yourself too far, you will break yourself. And talking about being perfect and pushing too far, this is a straight way into professional burnout. And if you right now feel tired of everything and everyone, you are pushing too far and you are too perfect. So stop doing that to yourself. You wouldn't do that to your kid, to someone who you love. Stop doing that to yourself. Don't push too far. Measure your task and how you want to change your life. So those are 8 golden rules. Don't start your time management system until you realize that you are living according to them. Because everything else will break you, will lead you to the failure, and you will feel like a failure, but you are not. So, when you have all these 8 rules in your mind, let's start now with something so simple as a task list. Do make a task list for yourself. Do you have a task list? Someone says yes, someone no. People who don't use task lists, they usually say it doesn't work. Well, let me tell you some things. There is a saying, ancient proverb in China, that a blunt pencil is better than a sharp memory. If you don't write anything, then you will have to remember everything. And it's easier to remember 1, 2, 3 things, but if you learn about how people memory work, you'll find that we are unable to remember more than 7 items at the same time. That's a limit. So if I ask you to write down your task list right now, I challenge you to see how many items should be there. I am asking you to take some paper, and of course you next to the computer, and write down now that all the tasks that you should do in the next 7 days. So starting from today up to the next Wednesday evening. If you need paper, grab a paper, a pen, and just do it right now. I give you 5 minutes, so at some point I will stop you. But please write down all the tasks for the next 7 days. Time goes now. Now look at those lists. Shall I say that they have more than 7 points? 7 items? Some of you, I can see that you have the whole paper of tasks. Did you notice that while you start writing one job, one task, suddenly you remember several more that are connected somehow to that area? Yeah. Some of you have almost forgot, and you just remembered because you started to write. This is how your stack of the memory works. When you put out several items, the rest move on to the front door. That's why when we start to write, suddenly it all comes back to us, and suddenly we see the bigger picture. How many tasks do we have in our lives? So, first of all, we can focus on what we have to do. Secondly, you can see that it opens the doors to the creativity, and we remember, and we can see the how all these tasks fit together, and etc. And first of all, it helps you to see the whole picture. If you don't have one paper enough for your tasks, how do you feel? Tired, right? Too much of everything. This task list sometimes feel like they don't work. Well, they work. In my career life, and I was a very young professional, and I was an office administrator working in several offices in Vilnius and Kaunas. At one time of my career, I had 4 bosses, 4 different chapters. I was administrating all of them alone, and 4 bosses were giving me orders and tasks. It was a very great job. I was very enthusiastic because a lot of different tasks, and I was learning a lot. And at some point, one of the bosses came to me and he said, Danguolė, you can see those clocks in the conference room. They are showing the time in Lithuania and in our partners' countries. Well, the batteries are dead. Change the batteries. And I said, yes, of course. And I wrote down the task into my task list. And of course, having in mind the priorities, I was taking care of international colleagues and etc. and etc. It was a low priority for me. And less than a month, I had an annual meeting, and I had a report from all my bosses how they value my job. And guess what? One of them wrote, it could be better. Danguolė didn't do the tasks on time. It was about the damn batteries. So, of course, I felt quite hurt because I was working really hard, doing my best. It's just a battery. And I decided that, okay, maybe those people don't understand how much do I work. So I made a list of all my tasks into Outlook, and I shared the list with all my bosses. And I asked them, I want to be the best employee for you, so please help me. You now see the whole workload I do. Please mark what is most important, and I will start with those tasks. In 10 minutes, I receive a letter from that boss saying, I will change batteries myself. Sometimes you need those task lists. Sometimes you need to be that boss who needs to see the whole picture, how much you are doing. And maybe it's time to say yourself that either you work on priorities or you need an assistant. This is, first of all, what you can see from that list. Also, you can see in the list what you have already missed. You can see that there are limits of times when you need to, some maybe tasks need to be taken care of more fast. And of course, when you look at the list, sometimes people say, should I write down all the small tasks I do? Because sometimes to write down takes the same time as to do them. Well, my advice is once every 6 months, do that. Do that not only for your personal life, but also for your professional life, for your every aspect of your life, because you need to see the whole picture. If you're doing 110 small jobs, that means they are taking at least 2 hours of your time, at least. So if you have so many small jobs, maybe there is a time to make some decisions. If you don't do, remember, life is changing. Everything is changing. For example, if you were willing to clean your house by yourself and you were living in a small flat, and now you move to a big house, suddenly the same task is not that small anymore. Maybe you are doing breakfast, but after 6 years, maybe your life partner has changed his or her job, and now they can do the breakfast instead of you. Or maybe your kids are already not so small. Maybe they are already teenagers and can do breakfast, tea, and coffee for you. Sometimes we need to review all those decisions because life is changing. Are you? Is your time management changing as well? Now, when you made a list, probably you have something like that. This is just a small picture of what is in my list. And when we write down everything we need to do, we have something like a salad. Something from personal life, then a little bit about job, now a little bit about maybe some membership in some club, and etc. It's a mix up, and it doesn't give you a clear picture. So start with grouping your task list, and grouping according to the source of the tasks. Why it is important? Tasks don't get into your life just so. You invite them by taking responsibilities. You wouldn't have to walk your dog if you don't have a dog. You wouldn't have to go to the board meeting if you wouldn't apply to be in a board meeting. You joined the committee. You chose this work. You. This is the roles you chose to do. So look at your now at your list. How many roles do you have? How many sources of work do you have in your task list? Can you group them according to that? You can use colorful pencils or colorful pens to identify. What roles did you expect into your life? Remember in the beginning I told you, I'm a lecturer in the university, I have a private practice, I am volunteer, I'm a member of organization, and also I'm a family person. So it's a 5 for me. 5 sources of tasks. How many do you have? 3. Great. Also great. Because one of the challenges that I meet when I talk to my clients and also to people like me who wants everything everywhere and every day, ambitious people, curious people, sometimes we grab too much. We bite too big hunk and we can't chew it. If your tasks are more, if your roles are not fitting on your hand, there is no way they can fit in your life. Just face it that way. You can do 1 role perfectly. 1. You can do 3 good, 5 good enough. And that's the end of the story. That's why you should ask yourself, how many roles do you perform in your life? Are they still important to you? Because remember, life changes. Maybe there was a time that it was very important to be in the committee or to take responsibility or to start your own practice, anything. But is it still important right now? Because priorities changes. Because last time you did it, there was nobody else who could do that. You didn't have a dog, you didn't have a kid, you didn't have your personal life, anything. There were a lot of things you didn't have. Is it still important? Maybe it's time to let it go. Because like people, the same as the roles, they should let us grow. They should make us happy. They should make us feel useful. Now, if you are just feeling used, it's time to let go. Let someone else to grow. Let someone else to be happy in that position. It's okay to let go. Next thing, look at the roles and see which of them generates the most of the workload. Now you have a whale in your life. And when you have a whale in your life, can you eat the whale alone? Or maybe you need help. And when talking about all those jobs, sometimes it's time to ask, is it me who should do that? Maybe someone else can help me or do it or replace me. It's okay. If you're not replaceable, you will never have time for yourself. It's good to stop and look for a perspective, for new horizons. So can you do that? And of course, as when I talk to managers, leaders who run their businesses, and also at home, moms, and I ask, can you do all this alone? Maybe it's time to hire someone. This is where all those detailed lists with all small tasks come in handy, because you can see how much of it you can give to someone else who will do it good enough. Remember, we don't need perfect. Good enough. Someone else can prepare the presentation good enough. Someone else can go and meet and greet a new delegation good enough. Someone else can make dinner good enough. And that's great. Because when you are so tired, you are not doing perfect, really. You are you're doing a lot of mistakes. You are checking yourself several times and still doing mistakes and being unhappy. You are not doing perfect. You are too doing just good enough. So let anyone else be good enough. Any questions towards this? No. So another way is to look at the task list is to apply Eisenhower matrix. Have you ever seen before? Some of you, yes, some of you say no. The Eisenhower matrix says that all that you have in your list, you can divide into 4 groups. According, if this job is urgent, and if it is important. And there are 4 groups. Some tasks are urgent and important. Another group is urgent, well, not so important. The third group is very important, but not so urgent. And the 4th group is not urgent and not important. If you look at the list, could you identify how many of those tasks are urgent and important? Those tasks are something that if you won't do them on time, you will have bad consequences. Something bad will happen. It's like a fire. If you don't put your fire, now it's burning. If you don't take care of a fire, they will burn other houses as well. I would say make a space in your timesheets for all those 3 spots. That if it's not if all those jobs doesn't make your heart sing, throw away, delete, forget. But if it's important for you, it's nice to hold. Don't throw it away. Plan it into the time you will save after you ask for help and start dying all those files. So what did I do to my list? First of all, I decided what makes impact on my business in the matter of money. And first of all, I noticed that it's profit. It's those tasks that generate money directly. So not free, not volunteer, not some low-level tasks. It's a profit. Next thing that in my practice is very important is that my relationship with the clients. Most of my clients are those who return to my practice for several years, and they recommend my practice to other people. So the way I interact with them is very important. So it's a relationship with customers. And also, it's very important to be visible, because if they can't see you, they can't choose you. So it's important to attract new clients. And I identified those 3 aspects and decided that, okay, how can I see that in my task list? So all those 3 aspects I marked with some sign. For example, profit, I marked with a $sign. Client relationship, eternity sign, because I want them to have eternity. And new ones, a heart. So now I have a 3 signs, 3 symbols, and I looked from all the list and asked myself, is this job related to what I have to do? For example, giving free lectures to state council. Is it related to new customers? Well, let's be frank. People that ask, who have money but ask for free, next time they will choose someone else who gives something for free as well. They will never become your clients. They might recommend you to someone, but usually they recommend to someone who's looking for free consultations. Is it connected? Well, no. Next thing, to make a better timetable. Is it connected to any of it? Well, no, and etc. So I looked for all that task list, and I decided that I had like 2 A4 lists, and only 10 tasks were connected to the things I wanted to achieve. I was doing so many things that had no influence on my social life, on my business life, anything but not the things I needed to do. So I would encourage you right now to think about your life and ask yourself, what are my values in life? What are the most important things in my life? 3 things. Write down those values. Of course, we could have a seminar on how to identify your true value, but let's keep it for now. So 3 values. What is most important in your life or your work life? It's okay for you to choose. Then you write down those 3 items. Mark them with symbol, any symbol you like. It might be a star, it might be a heart, it might be a money symbol, anything. And after you do that, look at your task list and mark each of those tasks. If they are connected to your values, make that sign next to the task. If it's not connected, leave it be. Go through all those lists and mark all the tasks that are connected to your values. Can you see the difference in the picture? You can apply these signs into different areas. For example, in your personal life, might be your relationship with your loved one. It might be time quality with yourself. It might be your health. And you can look through that list. Remember when we grouped them? In that group, is that something that helps you to have a life quality you want? When you work in university, ask yourself, what is important in here? Ask your boss why he or she values you. What's the most important you do to them? And then look at your tasks. Do you do something that is making sense, making a difference, making something good for you, for your career, for your achievements? Look at your area of your other obligations. Is it something that still is connected to your values? Because the person who goes against their values, they always feel a conflict in yourself. And there is no power in you if you have a conflict inside, because there is nothing worse than you can't be proud of what you are doing. If you do something that you are proud of, that you see the sense, see the meaning in it, you can do a lot of things without stress, without being neglected, and etc. There are so many things happen. Magic happens when you stick to yourself, to the true value of your work. And if you're not, there is a legend, urban legend, that some American went to Bali, found a master, some guru, and asked him, Master, how should I live to be happy? And he said, the master said, when you eat, eat. When you walk, walk. When you sit, sit. When you sleep, sleep. The American said, come on, that's what I do. I walk, I eat, I sleep. No, 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 said the guru. When you walk, you think about what you will do when you will be arriving. When you eat, you think how you will sleep. And when you sleep, you think how to wake up. This is, you are never in here. You're either in your past or in your future, but you're not here anyway, at any point. So when we talk about values, it's being true self right here, right now, to have a meaning in every aspect of your life. And if your list now is very empty, without all those signs, how much empty, non-efficient work you do in your life. They all can survive without you. They all can. Stop looking at people as kids. When you do so many things for other people, you forget they are grown-ups. Yes, of course, we help each other, but are you still helping? Or maybe you are just nurturing like kids? Yeah, not kids. Respect themselves. They have to grow up. Help and move away so they can grow up and take care of themselves. Even your kids, they grow up. It's time to give some responsibility to them. Give them chance to take care of you, to take care of their own stuff. And that's how you make more space in your timetables. So, when you have all this perspective, only now, start thinking about what is worth to appear in your calendars. Because right now, it's like a filter. Can you see how many things you shouldn't do? And that's where you take the calendar. The calendars, sometimes people say, well, paper is outdated. Not that much, because some people are still having that sense of achievement when they stretch something out in the paper or make that check mark. And you need that. So respect yourself. Do that for yourself. And if it's good, do that. I have a paper calendar. I skipped it for 2 years. Now I have a digital and a paper calendar, both. The digital calendar is for connecting with other people. I use several calendars, to be honest. One of them is Gmail, Google Calendar that connects a lot of different tools into one. I have a Calendly calendar to agree on meeting time with my clients. Calendly calendar gives, the time, picking time for a client without writing all the letters. At one point, I sat down and I counted how many letters do I write to agree the time with the clients. And it appears that giving $7 a month, you can save lots of time. That's about 2.5 hours a week. So $7, I go for it. And also, it merges with Google Calendar. Perfect. All those other agreements with university, with all those schedules, they also merge into one calendar. So when I need to have a connection with the outer world, I need digital calendar. But for me, all those lists, yeah, I still stretch out because it feels good. It gives me the sense of achievement. So one thing what is very important when you put into your calendar, 2 questions are the most important in here. Decide when you start working day and decide when you finish. You think it's so easy? Remember when you started saying, especially after the COVID started, when we started working 24/7, not to read the letters after which hour? And now you're smiling. Yeah. Until I'm not asleep, I will read the letter. But that means you are working. You're not resting. You're still in that up position, straight. And stress is still coming because when you see a new mail, you think, oh, it's a late mail. It can't be good. Because only bad news travel on the nighttime. Remember? Because good news can wait till the daylight. So when you start your day. Yeah, but
at night you want to.
Only bad news come at night. So decide when your calendar starts. Decide when your calendar stops. And for me, that means that I have strict time I dedicate to my clients. First of all, when I take my calendar, I book my holidays. And it's a very good sense. And then someone says, can you do that? And it's a holiday day, and I know that I will not go anywhere, and they still say, no, it's booked already. And usually that means we can pick another day. I had in 6 years, I didn't have at least one item when they said, oh no, what shall we do now? We always picked another day. So start, it feels good. When you start transferring all those task lists into your calendar, start with the ones who have a particular date and time. Usually those are meetings. They are not very important, but you will have to be in there, right? So let's start with them. You can't push them. Now you have a clear vision how much time is left. One thing that you need to know before you start putting all those tasks in your calendar, that every task has the body and a buffer. And one of the main mistakes people do when they plan their activities, they plan like this. At 8 o'clock, I will be in the place or in the office, and I will do anything in the paper up to 9:30. 9:30, I have a meeting with the client. 10:00, I will have a meeting with the faculty. At 11, the meeting will be over. I will call and write letters, and etc., etc. So no time to breathe, no place for 250 steps. Work, efficient. And suddenly you are in the car. It's 8:15. The car crashed before you, and there is no way to be in time. What does it mean? Everything has collapsed. And I mean everything, all day. How to avoid that? First of all, every task must have a buffer time. And if it's something that you work next to the computer, for example, if you have a task that approximately is 1 hour long, and you are next to the computer, give it 10 to 15 minutes buffer time to finish. If someone will come to you and interrupt you, if at least some sentences need to be finished, give yourself a little bit buffer time. If you finish before that, there's always a list of tasks you can take, yes? But if you need a little bit more time, there is no hurry to do it. If you meet a person, and be very clear about it, a person is not a computer. You can't project the computer mentality into the relationship with people. If you have a meeting with a person for an hour, at least half an hour is a buffer. Because if they have any problems, if you have to discuss, if you need to finish that in some positive note, you will need time to wrap up. And now just imagine you had a very strong discussion. You were discussing maybe some issues, some difficulties, and etc. And now you see you are already late to the next meeting. What do? Sorry, I can't talk to you right now. And run away? How would you feel if it was you? It's a disrespect. That means that I value less than those other people. And it feels bad. That's how a relationship breaks. Healthy relationships say that I have enough time to hear you, to see you, to understand you. That's why even when I am a payment client and I have that strict 1 hour, I still have time to say goodbyes, to finish sentences, for that good vibe to go out of a relationship. And if everything finished on that 1 hour, I have half an hour to have a cup of coffee, to walk my 250 steps. And one thing that I have learned, if you have that buffered time, you do not drag this meeting emotions to the next meeting. And not always those emotions are good. For example, if you had a very conflict situation, you discussed and maybe there were tears and low emotions, and you jump from this meeting to the next one, you are not happy because you are not a light switch. You can't switch off your emotions. You come as you are. And now you have a different person, totally new situation, but you are still in the mode of low emotions. So these people can see your face. And it's not happy. And they think that maybe you're not happy with them. You're not happy to be with them here. So it affects how you operate in here. So don't drag that emotions. In another case, if you are very happy in this meeting, and everything is, unicorns and flowers and so nice, and you come in here, you're so high, you don't notice the signs that you should be worried. And you miss a lot of points that later will have problems for you. So these switches need time. And what you can do, take that buffer time for you to reset. Go clean your hands. One of the emotional things to do for yourself. Because while we clean, we change ourselves as well. We reset. Go see outside. Do a wadak, you know that? Absolutely. Just prove everything from yourself. Be a new person in a new relationship. So make that buffer time each time you make an appointment. Also, know yourself. When is the best time for you to work? And you know it. Some of you are early birds, and you operate best in the morning. Some of you are late birds, and you don't operate in the morning. Usually, when I was working from 8 to 5 in the office, I would come on time. I had no choice. My husband worked in the same company, and he's an early bird. So he would drag me to the office, and I would make myself coffee, sit near the computer, and for the rest hour, all I could do is some mechanical work. Just, looking through the emails, making some adjustments, that's it. No creative work for me, because I wake up at 9. And my best time when I am getting creative is at 4 o'clock in the evening. So when I need to figure out my timetable, I always leave everything that is not important in the morning. Then I get meetings, I get something that I can process easily. But if I have to create something, new program, new event, new game for my students, I leave it for the second part of the day, because I know I will get my coffee, sit back, and I will have fun in the evening, not in the morning. So this is how you know yourself, and it affects how you plan your calendar. So At what time? It's your best self. So pick your job accordingly, your path accordingly. At what time most interruptions happen? And this is when you work at home. Most interruptions happen at home. Because in the office, somehow it's a little bit different. But still, let's start with the office. Notice that most of people are later birds, not early birds. That's why if you're early bird, don't make meetings at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. That's not working. But if you're an early bird and you are most productive at that time, it's a silence time. Sit back and work on the most complicated tasks. And then go and meet everyone else who has already wake up. Also, the same pulse is with the day. Usually people around 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, they get hungry, they get tired, first tiredness comes, they go to eat. And after that, they are slow. So you want to have a slow, calm working time, go and work from 1 o'clock to the 3 o'clock in the evening, because nobody will come and talk to you after at least at 2 o'clock after in the afternoon, and later interruptions happen because people become lazy, tired, and they don't want to solve their problems themselves. That's one way they come to you and ask for help and ask for information, and interruptions happen. So there are two waves of interruptions, about 11 o'clock in the morning and about 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So when they all come to you, have this in mind. Can you make people respect your time, respect the way you work? Of course, yes. But you can't do that alone. Talk to your team. And workshops like this, I do in the companies as well. And usually what we do, we create a system that works for the most of the team. For example, we decide which hours are silent hours. You can't interrupt people during that time. And it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours in the morning and in the afternoon. So if you have a question, you can wait for the next 30 minutes and come and ask, because now it's quiet hour. Question?
How about phone calls or something with hashtag?
Well, you can't control phone calls, can you?
No.
So phone calls like mosquitoes.
Yeah.
You can get angry at them, but you can't control them. So it's better not to get angry, but maybe you can run away from them. One of the strategies, one of the solutions, if you have something very important and you don't want to be disturbed, don't stay in your workplace. Hide yourself. And you can hide in a conference room. You can hide yourself in a different floor, in a different room, anywhere. Just move from a place you are. This way you will be able to have more quiet surroundings. And with the phone calls, I always say, if the world can't live without you for more than 1 hour, you are doing something wrong. So switch off the phone for 1 hour. Usually people write a letter to you. Usually people decide, those who, just a quick question, they solve their problems themselves. And this is how you save lots and lots of time. Any more questions?
No, quiet hours, I love the idea.
But you have to discuss that in your team, because remember, respect other people. And for example, sometimes people decide to use some sign that this is a fire on my table right now. It might be some red thing, some flag, some toy in front of anything. The trick is people get used to that signal. And in 6 months, approximately, they forget to respect it, and you need to change it and to rediscuss.
We also have some additional projects that we take care of, so space for us to consider other projects.
Sometimes the whole team runs away from their places, for example, to the conference room, and they place a sign on the doors, enter on your own risk. Before you enter, ask yourself, and all those questions. So it helps you to remind other people that it's not only about them. It's not that I don't want to connect you, to talk to you or help you. Right now I have a fire to deal. If you can't help me, just don't stand in my way. So yes, we can train them. Now a flashback to home. What if I work at home? What if my team is a dog, a cat, a kid, a loved one, my significant other, and you know that there is a time when they all rush into your room, and there is some age of kids that they don't read. That's the worst age, but they can act and they won't enter. What could you do? Remember that all those people and all those animals, all they need is a routine. You can train them as well. That means you have to be predictable, and you have to plan your activities in a way that every hour and a half you could spend some quality time with them. For example, well, kids usually can wait up to 45 minutes, to be honest, at some age. But they understand that if I say later, and I can even show a clock, and even also animals as well, they learn the rhythm of the day. And if you keep your promise, they will learn to trust. And that means you can see that's not the time, no, not yet. Not yet, not yet, now. And if I keep a promise and I spend quality time, and if I say, look, at this time, we will go outside, no matter what. I will leave everything and I will go. And I will keep my promise, and I will do day by day by day. It comes easy because they learn to trust you. They learn to live according to that rhythm. And you will see that if you have a quality time with kids and animals, they spend outside some time, they throw all their energy. After you go home, they are so quiet and so easy, and they go to sleep and to rest. You can go to work, because when you were working, you were resting, remember? So that was the rest for you. Now you can go and do the most important task, because now nobody will bug you. So by knowing that being productive and being predictable, you can help not only yourself, but all other people around you, is also very important. Now, how long will a specific task take? This is a very important question as well. When you look at the list, they all seem the same. The list that will take half an hour of your time, 15 minutes of your time, and 2 days of your time, they all sound the same. But when you put them into your calendar, they have volume. They have a mass. So by putting them, you not only write down the task, but also mark the volume of that task. So nothing else would jump into that time. Now, during that break, I was talking to you that it's important to have a break. Why? Because our focus has limits. And if you sometimes wonder why people, young people like TikTok, that's a good example of how focus is managed. Well, usually without any further power, we can focus for 55 seconds. Okay, 2 or 3 minutes at the most. And that means that if you want to be focused all day long, it's almost impossible. That's why when people ask how much I should plan of my workday, you will find in theory several different numbers. Some say 45%, some say 50%, some say 60% of your day. Well, my experience says not more than 80% of your day. So if you say that you work for 10 hours every day, including if you are in work, you have some interruptions, yeah? So that means not more than 8 hours of actual work, both physical and mental work, because all the rest will be swollen by all the situations you didn't plan. Also, we know that Mondays, Fridays are special days. Am I right? When people ask me to lead the course, I always say there are 2 days that are not suitable for learning. That's Monday and Friday. Because on Friday, people want to finish all the work they didn't finish during the week. And on Monday, they all want to finish everything they didn't finish on Friday. That's how we work. That's how we operate. On Monday, we are full of what we have experienced during the weekdays, weekends, and on Friday, we are living not now, but in the future. You know, then I will finish work, I will go and do. And this is how we operate. So what are the most efficient days of week for you? What's the most efficient time? How do you overcome ugly tasks? No matter how much you love your work, no matter how much you enjoy your company, your team, there is always one ugly task you have to perform. Oh, yes. Sometimes it is called a frog. There is also a book, Swallow Your Frog. And I read that book and it doesn't work for me. I tried it. I'm bad with frogs. Now, so it's important for you to know how you deal with ugly tasks. Some people say, let's do that ugly task early in the morning. No. And then the rest will be nice and easy, unicorns and flowers. But for me, I can spend half of a day looking at that frog. Doesn't work for me. And at the end of the day, I will be very angry at myself because I could do so many things if I wasn't that focused on that stupid frog. For me, I start with the things I like, the things that are nice to me, and I pick up the pace. And I did this, and I did that. And I now look at that. During these 2 or 3 hours, I did so many things. Now, okay, let's do it. And I usually do make that task. And after that, I'm so proud of myself because now I've done lots of tasks and ugly frog is eaten. But this is me. What about you? How do you deal with frogs? Swallow them and forget? Or leave it for the late dinner? It doesn't matter until you are able to do that before they become a fire. So there's no one size fits all. You have to find your recipe. One thing that we have also to acknowledge, there are different types of work. If you look at the task, you will notice that some of those tasks are about numbers, about analysis, gathering information, processing information. And there are tasks that contains people communicating, talking to them, creating ideas. And when you look at them, they require different us. I'm a different person when I'm working with numbers, and I'm a different person when I'm working with concepts with people, because I'm using a different parts of my brain. Now, the new research shows that it's not like left brain is for numbers, right brain is for concepts. Not only. They are a little bit meshed up. But still, the main idea is like that. We tend to use different parts of the brain. Now, just imagine that you have two rooms. This room is for numbers. And if you want to make your decisions and make your work with numbers, you have to come here. With your computer, with your notes, with your everything you need to have. And if you need to talk to someone, you need to go to another room. For example, like three streets away. This is where the difference is. When you switch from numbers to people, it's like taking all you have and going all the way to the different part of the building. It takes time, doesn't it? Now, when you plan your work, you usually mix up. This is where I will analyze information, then I will talk to the client, then I will write a report, then I will write some... It doesn't work like this. That means you are losing lots of time transferring from one part of the brain to the next one. And now let's talk about interruptions. You are working on the report with many, many numbers. Someone drops into your room and asks, could you please talk to me? I have a problem. Just a quick question, just 5 minutes. Yeah, so you push your laptop, you listen to her or him, and then you return. When you start listening, did you notice that switch of mind? There is a gap. Then you have to, can you repeat it again? You ask to repeat again. Why? Because you are in a different room. Now you have to run away. And after you talk to that person, you turn to your computer and, oh gosh, I don't remember where I finished it. Yeah. And you need time to go back. That's why there are tasks that fit together and tasks that don't fit together. Remember the pace of the day? There is a part of the day where you can have best time for numbers and a time when you have a best time for people. And when you have best time for people, you develop different features than with numbers. So that's why you should group all your tasks. So you should not be running away from one room to another one, but stay in the most important, most efficient mode. So respect how your brain works, because you can't change that. This is how we work. Also, that means that if you have a very deep conversation, don't use numbers. And if you have a very deep analysis, stay away from people. This is where your brain will have time to work. So, how long can they work and not lose energy? It depends on how you connect your physical work and your mental work. And that's what I told you. You need to have a break every 1 hour or at least 1.5 hours, and it should be 10 to 15 minutes. And if you have worked for 3 or 4 hours, you should have at least half an hour break. Now there is a tendency, even also there is a book, Don't Eat Alone. So invite someone for a business breakfast, for coffee breaks, and etc. Well, if it works for you, I'm happy for you. But when will you invite yourself for a quiet time? Because you need quiet time, especially if you are introvert. You need to be in your space, and all those buzzing words, they make you more tired than ever. Also, then you are alone, you are relaxed. Or just go with someone else just to eat, not to discuss ideas and businesses. because your stomach needs your attention too. Remember, when you eat, then you will feel when there is enough food for you. Once I had an experience, and my friend gave me a gift. It was a blind dinner. And in Kaunas we have a hotel, and we have underground that there are no natural light, and they made dinner where people who were serving were blind people, so we don't need any all those lights, and in absolute darkness we were eating. And we had 4 plates of food, and at some point I said to my husband, there are too much food for me, I want to give something for you. And then I switched the plates. We were eating with our hands because at some point we decided that it would be easy. And then at the end of the dinner, they take small lights and to make you see again, and then they show you what you have eaten all the time. And when they brought plates, and it was so awful, small plates with small amount of food, and I said, no way, because there was so much food in it. I was satisfied before I finished it. And they said, this is how we eat when we are mindful, when we taste, when we are not in a hurry, when we are relaxed, when we are having fun. Could you name the blind person who is overweight? Most of them are thin because they are relying on their feelings. So this is what is important. When you are focused on what you are doing, on relaxing, in a good company that gives you good emotions, or at a good company with yourself that never gives you bad emotions. This is also very important. So don't make every minute of your life efficient. It's not about efficiency, it's about quality. So not only those small, and of course, when you eat, there is a reason why they give you 45 minutes up to 1 hour, because you need that. Go for a walk. Don't come early into the office. Because if you go for a walk, if you rest, the next part of the day will be more efficient. You will do everything faster. You don't want to work longer, no? You want to do everything faster. So this is how you do it. Now, if there are, for example, if you work at home, that means that your work day is stretched out. Due to the dog, to the cat, to the kid, and all other things. And all the chores you need to do it at home. That means you have to plan not that part of life, but the whole bunch of it. And after 5 or 6 hours in the evening, you will be tired already, no matter what you do. At that time, you need another break of 45 minutes up to 1 hour. Go and lay down. Maybe your partner is home right now, or anything must be changed so that you can get more energy for the rest of the day. And of course, at that late hour, go figure yourself what you can do. For example, after 9 o'clock in the evening, I liked that time very much because everyone would go sleep. It's so silent. Finally, no interruptions. And I could go and finish my works. But that's for me. It's about you. So this respecting your body lets you feel energized. 3 no's. No to coffee, no to caffeine, and tonic drinks. If you need, of course, who says? The person who is depending on coffee, yes? Well, for me, coffee is more about meditating state. And I drink coffee when I need to put my thoughts together. And of course, in the morning, it's a tasteful drink. But if you drink coffee to wake up yourself, you are doing one thing. Our energy is like the energy of the phone. nothing different. If you drink energy drink or coffee, you are not giving yourself energy from that cup. No, you are retrieving energy from your future. In your phone, you do know that your phone can be active after the battery is gone. And you can still phone a cop or medical care. You know that. There is a buffer of energy that even if your battery is dead, you can still phone and ask for help. The same way we have an energy buffer inside of us, and it is required for our life to support. And that means when you are very, very tired, you should go to sleep to recharge. If you don't do that, drink coffee, drink energy drinks, you retrieve the energy from that buffer that is saved for your life. And yes, you get a little bit more energy, you work on it, and this is the burnout kicks in. Do you know how it feels to lose your conscience? When you have then you have to sit down, then everything goes dizzy. This is a sign you're drawing your energy from your life. And when people start feeling chest pain, when they go into the hospitals and lay under all those medical equipment, this is why they are here. They used their buffer energy. So if you drink energy drinks and coffee drinks, they are not giving you energy. They are doing a lot of harm to you. If you do it like once in a half a year, oh well, accidents happen. But if you are living on this mode for more than a week, that means you are just drowning yourself. You are killing yourself. So this is not the way to not lose energy. So what I would advise you, if you have to pick to have a perfect life or to go to sleep and have a healthy feeling, choose yourself. Because nobody will notice that there are 3 or 4 slides less than it should supposed to be. Maybe they'll say, okay, that's not the nicest slide. Didn't use any animations, nobody cares about it. It's not perfect. But if you are relaxed, if you are in good health, you will be able to answer questions. You will be able to give more of yourself to other people. The same is with every task you do. Of course, you say, when I have to submit a project, it must be perfect to win, yes? Well, sometimes it's good not to win. Not every client is your client. Not every project is your project. Sometimes you need to admit there is a point to stop. Because if you won't stop, you will be stopped. Okay. So, and now let's talk about where do my time goes? Who steals my time? First of all, switching between the tasks, running from with all that I have to different parts of my brain. Multitasking. Do you still believe in multitasking? Sometimes, especially men, say that, oh, women are good in multitasking. I usually give them a paper about it, a scientific paper that shows that no way. We are good at something that we are doing constantly. But multitasking is just driving focus from one point to another one. That's why by multitasking, we get tired more often and more than usually.
You can only focus on one task at one time. There's a German professor, Manfred Spitzer, who said you're only able to focus on 60% of the task if you're doing multitasking. So you will prioritize one task over another, even if you're multitasking.
Yes. So driving, drinking coffee, and talking to a friend is not an option. Choose at least 2 or 3.
Yeah, but then you should be at least like focusing on driving rather than
Yeah, because if you fail there, no coffee will help you. Okay, colleagues, but disregard your culture, your work, methods. When too many people eyeball the discussion or meetings, this is a huge topic. Usually, when I talk to managers, we spend approximately 2 hours reviewing how they organize meetings. And one of the most often made mistakes is, let's invite everyone. No, guys, you don't need everyone. And the letters who are sent to all the office, then nobody else, well, 2 or 3 people cares about the topic. So all these are thieves that stole our attention and our time. Calls, emails, and notifications. How can we deal with emails? And this is where we should talk about generations. And when I talk to different auditoriums, different age groups, I hear different answers. How fast should you answer an email? How fast? Same day.
On how urgent it is to me, according to my priorities.
So my question is, how often do you check your email? You don't close it, right? And this is what I hear from young students. This is one of things I enjoy in the university, because you see the youngest generation. And they say, if it's an email, that means that person can wait. If it wasn't an email, if it was urgent, they would call me, they would write a message to me, messenger. So first of all, if you write an email, it's not urgent anymore. And this is where we should discuss with your team how we treat emails. And the worst practice is to keep email running all the way, all the time. Because every time you draw attention to it. And most of them doesn't require your attention right away. True? Half of them are those quick questions. Do you know? And if you don't answer them in 1 hour, usually they say, oh, I found it myself already. After the vacations, I always start reading from the top, not from the oldest, from the top, because usually they have all the answers solved without me already. So I save my time. If you can, of course, it depends on your faculties, on your work environment. I check my emails 2-3 times a day. Once when I wake up, second time after half of a day, after my breakfast, and then before I go to sleep. It's not before, it's like 7-8 o'clock in the evening. So that if something urgent, I can be prepared or think about it for the next 2 hours and reply in the morning. I don't reply at the evening to the emails because I want to be sure that I have figured out all the aspects I want to answer. And in the evening you are tired. So maybe it's not the best time to answer the questions. Only those that are on fire. So in the morning I wake up, I see new emails if there are any, and also I give my answers to all. Now, by doing that, I save about 2.5 hours not to check email each time it comes, and 2.5 hours in a week, it's a quite good chunk of the time to save. Also, when you are dealing with emails, there are some emails that are requiring you just to react, yes or no, this or that, a small reaction. So if you have opened that email, write the answer right away. Don't leave it for later, because it's simple. It will save you time. You have already opened it. So the rest that require you to think about it, you can have flags, you can have all the marks. That will help you to prioritize those emails as well. Don't have them all the time on, because they will drive your attention. Just the way my son said, I wanted to find some information in Google. I ended up in YouTube watching the videos for 2 hours. So that's what happens to our attention. Our focus is easily disrupted. So know that. Browsing the web and social networks, just as I told you. Also, there are 3 sins in your workplace, in your life. One of the sins is gold plating. If you are the one who likes to have a best quality job, it's very close to perfect. How it is? What is gold plating? Then you, for example, have 2 weeks for a job, for a task to finish, and you have made 99% in 1 week, and the rest week you spend making it better and better and better up to the last minute, last night. Do you have that sense? Did you have that sense that you have to make a presentation and you have made all the slides and all the speech, and night before the presentation suddenly decide, no, let's do it better. Don't ever change anything on the night before the presentation. Only in cinemas, only in films, it looks good when someone drops their speech and leave it for the films. In real life, if you do that, you always make more mistakes than it was before. And remember, good enough for most of people are good enough. Nobody will find the difference. So gold plating, making it better and better and better until the perfect situation, usually just waste your time and nobody will notice your efforts. Another sin is procrastination. Students always know this feeling. There are 3 months until exam. I have plenty of time. Oh, 1 month until exam. Oh, I can do that. 3 weeks until exam. Well, if I try harder, I will do that. 3 days until exam. Oh my gosh. But if I want sleep, I will be able to do that 24 hours before exam. Panic mode. And still, did you notice that most of them pass? The only difference, if they would start earlier, they would have better results. And we all had that feeling, and some of us are not students anymore, and still we have the same sin. How we can deal with it? Well, when you don't have a mom to control yourself, you must be a mom to yourself. And you can set the dates for yourself as well. Deadlines for you to finish. And of course, that means you need to work on your will, on yourself, on how you project your life, and find the reason why it is important to do that. Boiled egg syndrome. Have you heard about it? It says that the task will take all the time it is given. Just like an egg, it doesn't mean, there is no difference if you boil it for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, the result is the same, it's hard boiled. The same is with the tasks. And you should know that if you give a task to a person, it will take all that time, even if it could be finished long ago. It's for you to know about yourself, to notice, but also about your co-workers, your subordinates. You should hide some time from them. When you give a task to someone else, don't tell 100% of the time that is given to them. Tell them about 80%, 70%. Usually people manage to do the task on time. And if not, you can always say, okay, let's stretch out for the next 2-3 days. And they will be happy. Because they are people. And they also have student syndrome. And sometimes until it's not too late, they don't do their best. And suddenly you say, okay, 2 days. Remember yourself in the class in the school. Then everyone, the class is ready for exam or for some checking, for a test. And everyone is, teacher, can we skip this time until the next week? And sometimes teacher says, okay, next week. And suddenly everyone has more time and the results are better. Everyone is happy. They think that teacher is very nice and good, yeah, a good person. The same as with other people. So if you delegate and hide a little buffer of time from people and from yourself as well. What else works? I will repeat for the 5th time today. Stop striving for perfection. If you decide that good enough is good enough, you can delegate. Of course, nobody is smart just like you. Nobody is that good like you. And nobody can do this as good as you. But if they can't, then you are the only person who works. Maybe they can. Just get started. Most of the disasters in our timetables become big because we are just getting ready, fighting with our inside demons, with our insecurities, etc. Just start, and you will see the solutions. There is a Mel Robbins book, 5-second rule. Have you read it? Someone else? And it says, when you need for yourself to boost energy in yourself to act, start like, like an astronaut before launching into cosmos. And it says, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And with that energy, go and do. Ask for help, start doing some research and etc. Whatever you need to do. Divide large tasks into manageable ones. Sometimes we look at the whale and we say, no, it's not up to us to do that. But you can eat the whale if you cut them in pieces. So cut big tasks into pieces. Avoid necessary discussions. That means plan your discussions. Plan what you want to achieve during that discussions. Evaluate what can all those people bring into your meeting. As I said, unimportant decisions, make it right away. What are unimportant decisions? Those decisions that don't make any difference in a month or two. For example, should we buy white cups or red cups for our marketing department? This one, because it doesn't really matter. Or should we go to eat lunch in there or in there? All those small decisions that don't make changes into your life, make them right away and don't go back to them. Because they don't matter. Set deadlines for yourself, just to take care of your student inside. Do the hardest work in the morning. Our will is a muscle as well. That's why in the morning we have more power of will than in the evening. If you want to start practicing, doing exercises, running, don't leave it for the evening. You will be too tired for that. In the morning, you have all the power of will. You will be able to start. And when we make decisions, we get tired. When we work, we get tired. And that's why don't leave strong and difficult decisions for the later on. And of course, plan for surprises. That's why you need to leave that 20 up to 40% of your time not planned. So they can be swallowed by all those surprises. So if you work in a very dynamic environment, don't plan more than 60% of your time. So how can you motivate yourself? Because, okay, frogs, unpleasant tasks, whales, there's so much animal in our lives. How to deal with all of them? Make yourself do. How can we make ourselves? First of all, you know you will be tempted, just like in diet. There'll be reasons when you are tired and you know that you have to deal with it. For example, you know that I want to say happy birthday to my friend, but I need to leave early from the party because I have obligations next morning. But I know there will be a lot of friends and it will be fun. How can I do that? Or I will have an exam. And I know that social networks are so interesting right now. So many discussions, and I want to participate. How can I help myself not to be dragged into social networks? Well, psychologists call it Jason's contract. There is a legend, Greek legend, that people were traveling with a boat next to the sirens. Remember that? And sirens were singing, and sailors would go into that direction and would sing. So Jason asked everyone to put their to cover their ears, but he himself wanted to listen to the sirens. It was very curious for him. So he asked his friends to tie him to the pole like that, so he couldn't do anything, just to listen. So this is the example of the contract. If I know it, I will be tempted. Can I do something to help myself? For example, I had a bad manner when I was driving, and I had a call. I was so curious who's calling and why. I would always pick up the phone. And it's illegal, and it's not safe. So what I started to do, I started putting my phone into the trunk of the car. When I drive, I still can hear that someone is calling, and I have to decide, should I stop or should I drive to that point? So it's more safe, and if I want to pick up, I should be safe. So this is the example. My student decided to give all the logins to the social networks to his friend and asked not to tell all the logins, to change the passwords, and not to give them until the exam session is over. So 2 weeks, no social networks. You can read, but you cannot participate. So how can you help yourself in times of temptation? Maybe in the case of birthday party, you can ask your your loved one to come and bring you from the party. So if he's already here, well, you need to go. Or maybe you ask your kid's nanny only for 2 hours. It works, you know, you can't ask for more, and you need to go home. So anything that helps works. Reward yourself for your efforts more often. When you do something for a long time, projects, some reports, it's annoying. And if it's only frogs and whales, you lose your focus and you say, why should I always do that? And for example, in your time management scale, when you do changes, sometimes it's not very comfortable and it requires for you sacrifices. So every day you manage to keep on track. Give yourself a reward. Maybe it's a glass of wine. Maybe it's a portion of ice cream. Maybe it's just, something small. Maybe it's just another film from Netflix at the evening, because you finished all your work on time and you have time for yourself. Do it for yourself. Let it be your reward. Next time when someone will come and say, can you do this? You remember, if you will take this path, you will have no film at the evening, no time. So you will have a good choice. Every time you say yes to something, you will say no to yourself. Grow your will little by little. As I said, it's a muscle. Don't expect too much from yourself, but you can grow it. Avoid drastic changes, because that's not how we change. Look at the nature. If you want to change something, you need to give them time. You give your time to yourself. Learn to say no. Always. It's very important to know your boundaries. Sometimes when I have clients and we ask, I can't say no because I feel a bad person. We pick a middle range and we start with saying yes, but, and we cut chunks of the tasks. So let's start with something that lessens the impact of our time. The next level, when person can already say yes, but, the next level we learn no, but. No, I will not do that, but I will help you. So it's a no, but still slightly friendly, and we learn that. And the last level that you need, saying no without hurt feelings, is just a no. I can't do that. I have my own stuff to take care of. Because remember, everyone around you are grown-ups who can take care of themselves. And if you help, you need to know how long and what you are sacrificing for that person. Ambitious planning kills creativity. We are creative when we are relaxed. When we are doing nothing, when we are bored, when we are looking somewhere on the ceilings. But not when we are busy. So being busy is not being smart. It's not being creative. Don't be too ambitious. Provide breaks for rest and switching. Just wait, as we talked before. But above all of that, sometimes we plan very carefully. Sometimes we do our best. Sometimes we apply all the techniques, all the applications, and ask for help and do everything right. And still, our plans go wrong. And at that time, before you say, I failed, learn to say and to add one more word. I failed today. And tomorrow, I will be smarter because of what I have experienced. If you had a bad experience, ask yourself, what have I learned? What can I do to never be in that situation again? Or to be different in that situation? When you have bad experience, ask yourself, well, I didn't manage to do it now. I made a bad decision today because I didn't know that much, but I know now. That small world, that small word can change the perspective. Can you see that difference? That means nothing is over. You are not a failure. You are learning. And I hope you will learn a lot today, tomorrow, and all the next days when you apply new solutions. And I hope today you had ideas, but can you change for the better? Thank you very much. So let's keep in touch. Let's use social networks to be together. And if you need any questions and any ideas, I'm always online most of the time, and I will be able to respond to any of your questions and your
Do you have any contact or email?
not in the slide, but if you look at my name, Danguolė Kraskauskienė, let me go to the first slide. You will find me in the social networks. This is also continuing with ETA, Vytautas Magnus University.lt. You'll find my email as well.